All spiritual traditions in the world, or at least most of them, at some point admit that human beings are under a mass delusion. Indian traditions refer to it as Maya, which is the material world, which is illusion. In the Taoism, they talk about illusion and seeing the world for what it really is, right? And so this is a constant pattern in Buddhism, same thing. We're under illusion because we see things that aren't there. We see our values, we see our judgments about the world, and they're ultimately fictitious. And they cause us a great deal of suffering because even though they're not true, we treat them as if they are true. And so it causes us pain. So I wanted to talk about that because that may be a pretty heady concept that people may have difficulty understanding, and I think it's interesting as hell. So a good example of this would be in general semantics, which was created by Alfred Korzybski. It had to deal with language and the traps of language. So, for example, if you're dying in the desert, it doesn't matter how often you say the word water, 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 water. Water is not going to just fall from the sky. The word is not the thing. Similarly, Korzybski's discipline, general semantics, has a common motto, which is the map is not the territory, which basically means that the way you think about the world is not the way the world is. It's just your interpretation. You are superimposing values and morals and judgments and opinions and faulty observations. You're constantly editing your perceptions and you're editing your memory. When it comes to your memory about how you feel about yourself, you edit your perception so that you make yourself out to be better than you are or worse than you are. Okay? And we do this to avoid pain or discomfort. We try to make ourselves out to be a victim sometimes in order to gain a sense of sympathy for ourselves, when in reality we're the ones to blame, right? So this idea of illusion can be very clearly illustrated with a couple of examples. The most extreme example would be a dildo in the shape of a penis, okay? Now, this is an extreme example because people are going to get their skirts up about it, perhaps literally. But if you were to walk into a courtroom with a dildo like this, people would be shocked and horrified. And the question is, why? What is it that you're holding? Right? And you think, well, it's a penis. But it's not. It's latex. It's plastic. Okay? The fact that it's in a certain shape is the illusion. Okay? And it's a device that was created deliberately in order to cast an illusion on the buyers of it. It's a sex toy. It's a toy. What do you do with toys? You use your imagination, right? And so you're in a fantasy world that isn't true. And so they created this toy, this device, to trick the mind into thinking it's something that it's not in order to gain pleasure. So this is an example of illusion. It's just plastic. It's just latex. It's an inanimate object. It has no organic material in it whatsoever. It has never belonged to a male ever. It's completely fake. It's even made with synthetic chemicals. Okay? It's no more a penis than like a pen. You know what I mean? They're equally not the case. That's not what it is. And so this is a good example, again, of people assuming that something is one thing when it's not. They're taking their fantasies, they're taking their illusions seriously, and as a result, they get offended. They may even feel insecure. They may even feel embarrassed about their own sexuality, and seeing this device in public may make them feel embarrassed in a public forum, and so they feel humiliated. But they have no reason to feel humiliated. They're humiliating themselves. They're doing it to themselves. This is what Maya is. This is what illusion is. Go to an art gallery. That's all illusion. All artists do is cast illusions. They're illusionists, really. They're magicians. Look at any statue. You say, oh, well, that's a statue of a woman. Completely wrong. Completely wrong. There's no such thing as a statue of a woman. There's no such thing as a statue. And there's no such thing as a woman made of rock. It's just rock. That's all it is. The form, the shape of the statue may be in the shape that you would recognize as a woman, but it's not a woman. It's ultimately just rock. It's in the illusion of a woman. It looks similar in the shape. You see a similarity. In the Buddhist teachings, they use the snake and rope analogy. Maybe you're coming home one night, you're walking in the woods, and you see a snake next to you, and you jump out of fright, and then you look again and you realize it's just some rope on the ground. You superimposed this idea of snake onto the rope, right? And you caused yourself all this stress and aggravation over something that was never actually a threat in reality. In reality, you were completely fine. And so you can apply this to yourself, to your person. Who are you? Who are you really? You're not the same person you were last year. You're not the same person you were 10 years ago. You're not going to be the same person in a year. You're not going to be the same person in 10 years. Your cells completely regenerate after every 7 years. And all the memories you have, you edit them. You edit them to remember certain key parts, and you don't see it objectively. You see it based on your own values at the time. That's the reason why you can have an opinion about a memory you had from 10 years ago, and you can have a different opinion about the same memory 5 years later. You're editing your memories. And so there's no consistency even in your memories of who you are. You're not your physical body, because your body's constantly changing and forming and maturing and so on and so forth. Maybe it would be deformed after an accident or something. So who are you? It's a good question to ask. And who are you outside of all the illusions? If I was a fly on the wall, if a tape recorder was watching your entire life and looked at the decisions that you made, the actions that you took, would you be proud of them? If you saw it objectively, or would you say, you know what, I really overreacted in a lot of these cases? Or, you know what, I treated people really poorly in these cases and I thought I was doing the right thing, right? You thought you were doing the right thing. The right thing. Illusion. Good, bad, good and evil, holy, profane, saint, sinner. It's all the same illusion. You can apply this in a big way to your life when you think about the idea of possession. My wife, my husband, my boyfriend, my girlfriend. There is no such thing. There's no such thing as your anything. There's no such thing as possession. If I have a wallet in my pocket, that's just a piece of leather in my pocket. It doesn't belong to me. I don't have possession of it. I don't have a receipt from God that said this is mine. It's just an object that I put in my pocket. That's the literal case. That's the physical situation that we're in. I just put it in my pocket. My wife, my girlfriend doesn't belong to me. She's not my possession. Just by saying, oh, can I call you my girlfriend? Yeah, sure. Okay. Now I'm calling you my girlfriend. That doesn't cast some legal spell on her. That now she's obligated to hang around me, have sex with only me, and have all these associations with romantic love and what a girlfriend, quote unquote, should or should not be, or should and should not do. Not hanging around male friends when she's drunk, for example. Not sleeping with other people. All illusions. What would you say to couples that engage in couple swapping and their relationships are completely fine and healthy? What would you say to them? That they're wrong? So possession isn't even real. I own my car, I own my house. You don't own anything. No one owns anything. And so this makes relationships even more meaningful because you realize that your partner, first off, doesn't belong to you. They have complete freedom. You can't control them. Okay? If they wanted to turn around and walk away from you right this very second, they could. And the fact that every day they have that opportunity and choose not to gives weight and credence and gravity to the relationship that you have. They have a choice to not be around you, and they choose to stay around you. That makes the relationship very meaningful. And whatever relationships you have with your friends, family, loved ones, whatever, mentors, whatever. Animals, certain locations in the woods, certain meditations, whatever the case may be. The idea is that you don't possess anything, and therefore you don't control anything. And when you get that, you realize, oh, I don't control anything. And so you stop trying to control things because you know that it's ultimately a fraud. It's ultimately an illusion. I don't control my girlfriend. If my girlfriend wanted to leave this house and sleep with someone else right now behind my back, she could. That's perfectly possible. But we deny ourselves those desires or those pleasures, those temptations, or those actions, even if we're not tempted. We're not particularly tempted to do that, but if we were, we would deny those in favor of an auspicious relationship, in favor of focusing all the meaning in our life to this relationship. And so it's a sacrifice in the same sense that you would sacrifice to gods. This is a sacrifice in order to make our relationship auspicious and meaningful in the center of our lives, because this is what we want. We want the goal of our relationship to become manifest. And the goal of our relationship is complete and total communion. Is spending a life together where we get over our insecurities and our bullshit, in order to be as raw and as real with each other as possible. To have raw emotion, raw connection at a deep spiritual level, because that's divine. That's like divinity. You're touching a very spiritual concept when you do that. And so that's what we deny everything in the world, that we're tempted by for in favor of reaching that goal. And so that's the real reason of marriage and taking these vows. It's so you're making a commitment to your partner, not out of possession, but because you want to sacrifice in favor of reaching the relationship goal of complete communion and happiness with your partner. So it has nothing to do with possession. And this is something the West has lost. And the West has lost this concept of illusion, right? We take it so seriously. Look at the law. The law is all illusion. The laws are no more real than the rules of tag. They're both ultimately fake. They're just agreed upon nonsense that we have to do in order to keep society running in a certain way. But there's no necessity to keeping society running in this particular way. Maybe we want to change it. Maybe we want it to run in a different way so that we would sacrifice other things. That's how you get different cultures. And so the world is full of illusion. And when you look at what's actually the case, then you realize how much people hallucinate. Look at people's political opinions. That's pure hallucination. It's pure meaninglessness. I mean, it's meaningful to them, but it's meaninglessness in the literal sense because they're all hallucinations about what the world should be or shouldn't be. It doesn't matter what you think the world should be or shouldn't be because the world is going to be what it is, whether you like it or not. You have no control over that. You know what I mean? So stop trying to control things that you're not in control of anyway. That's insanity. Jealous boyfriends, jealous girlfriends, you're not in control of your partner anyway. So stop with the charade of trying to control them through, obligations in a relationship. It's all a charade. It's make-believe in order to accomplish something in the relationship. But there's no literal possession. And this goes deep. You don't have a body. You don't possess your body. You don't own your body either. You're just life in matter. You are pure awareness that has been thrown in a material body. Okay? And your brain has been exposed through your upbringing to certain events, which you then psychologically reacted to, and that shaped your personality. You don't have any choice in who you are. You are who you are. You're just the animating principle, but your soul is not the thing dictating your personality at all. When your soul leaves your body, you're not going to have your personality. That personality is dead. It's a mask. It's an illusion. It's an illusion. You don't carry it with you. It's gone. And so, whoever you think you are, you're not. You don't have an identity. And that's the beauty of it. You don't have an identity. Who are you? Nobody. And this is what this is so fucking weird, but this is what Charlie Manson meant in that one clip of him where the interviewer says, "Who are you?" And he makes all these weird facial expressions and he acts like a lunatic and says, "Nobody." That little theatrical performance was not the rantings of a madman. When I saw that, I clearly understood, I think, that what he was trying to say is, look at, me smiling, me frowning, all these emotions. These are not me. These are what you, the interviewer, are seeing, but it's not me. I'm ultimately no one. I'm not who they say I am. Okay, that's enough. But that's just a quick meditation on the illusion of self and the illusion that humanity superimposes upon the world, and to wake up, because it's not true and it causes pain. And when you get to that point, you're completely liberated, and then you will have achieved the enlightenment stage that the trickster is so known for.